Arsenal, I think, will win the league. Rog, I do. I know. Brendan, I know. You know why?
You say that because I'm here.
It's Rog, still honestly deep in my cups in the 7 stages of grief in the wake of the United States shocking exit in the round of 16 to Sweden. A game in which our goalkeeper, listen there, showed herself to be both the greatest shot stopper and one of the greatest goal scorers in our nation right now, which is, at the end of the day, part of the problem. But I know, dear listeners, that you, like me, need a lift, a bit of a cuddle, some love, and so do I. So have I got the guest for you to mine the World Cup embers from our identityless crash and burn, embers that are stuck in our throats, must be washed down. So it's a joy to welcome a duo who've become like American football's True Detectives, one of the most unexpected partnerships since Andrea Bocelli and Ed Sheeran, or Pineapple on Pizza. It shouldn't work, but it does. From the incredible podcast, After the Whistle, available where all good podcasts are. It's a joy to welcome 2 great friends of the show on the eve of the kickoff of the new Premier League season, the mother of dragons, NBC's Rebecca Lowe, and my mate in the Go Go USA podcast, live from Sydney, the poor bastard. It's Mr. Brendan Hunt. Hi, guys.
Hi, Rog.
Hello.
Slightly hurt, slightly burnt.
I know.
That was a slightly sad hello, Brendan.
Yeah, well, you know. Yeah, it came a long way for nothing.
We're going to talk about it, but I want to say it is amazing to be with you both off the top. Can I say, your podcast is a joy to listen to on the Regs. Bex, I've got to tell you this. I like podcast the Bex, a.k.a. slightly the real Bex. Like,
I think so.
Are we going to expect you to start throwing around the word minging on the Premier League broadcast now?
Rog, you know as well as I do, that ain't going down well. But no, I sort of just like, it's like I've been unleashed and unfiltered, and I've been sort of slightly in my position for the last 10 years, is fair to say. That's like, you know, what I do as the presenter. It's not my role, but in this role, oh yeah, she gets going. Brendan's like, oh, holy hell, would you stop talking?
I have not heard the word minging since 1993.
Right.
And I coughed up my beer when I heard you say that, and I love you for it. And you should slip it into the broadcast. Just say Tyrone minging. It would be amazing. But Brendan, we've got to get to the big question. How many games in your life have you been to in the World Cup to watch the US women? How many?
This would be the one and only, Raj. This would be the one and only. Because, you know, I probably could have come for the group stage, but for the group stages, for the U.S. women, it's so perfunctory, Raj. It would have been such a waste of time. You want to get there for the knockout rounds when it really gets cooking, you know?
Group stages for amateurs. But, you know, we who love this US women's national team, we've all agonised. Is it the coaching? Is it the injuries? Is it lack of experience? I've got to ask the big tactical question. Is it you turning up? Could it be that you, Brendan Hunt, are like Jonah in the whale?
Could be my fiance. She was just as present as I was.
Don't throw the fiance under the bus, Brendan.
Well, hey, we're all looking for answers, Raj. We're all scouring the floorboards.
I respect you. No stone unturned. But let's rip the Band-Aid off. From a US perspective, this humbling, and it was a humbling, against Sweden, round of 16 exit, 4 goals scored all tournament. Not one human being outside of Colorado able to score. I mean, we have 49 other states available, but we didn't watch a single human being from any of them find the back of the net. First up, the exit itself by micrometers. Is that how we understand it? Is that how you explain it to yourself, Brendan? Is it like, micrometers? Or do you look at the bigger picture, the tactically naive football, the curious lack of substitutions, the inability to tweak and change? You know, was it inevitable retrospective? Was it clearly coming like the iceberg for the Titanic?
Yes, I think so. I mean, whenever it comes down to something like micrometers, which of course in the most literal sense has never happened, but whenever it's come down to something like really tiny that happens late and you want to be like, oh, it's because of that one thing. No, it should never have gotten to that one thing. This is clearly a sign of bigger issues. So, Yeah, fold up the tents and find a new show here, because yeah, this one's just didn't work. Didn't know till we got there, but now we know, and with time to start over.
I feel like now, with
Feels
hindsight,
rich.
I feel like Brendan and I were like that orchestra. You know, the orchestra that keeps playing no matter what. Like, they're going down, guys. You can put the violins away. But me and Brendan were just still there on after the whistle, just like, it's going to be okay. We're going to get... oh, no, we've all drowned. That's basically what we were.
Did young Rebecca Lowe play a musical instrument?
Attempted the piano, poorly, got to grade 1, but only got the pass mark. I didn't get above the pass. So I kind of passed, but on the pass mark. So that was it for me. If I can't do something well, Rog, I don't do it at all.
I'm going to throw a question at you, Bex, that you normally fling at the one of several Robbies. Was this on the players or was this on the coach?
I think it's always split, Rog. It's just what the percentage is. For me, I think the bigger percentage here is on the coach. Brendan and I have talked about it online, offline. I just don't think Andonovski had the heritage, the experience at certain levels, really to get the job in the first place. He gets the job, and then the Olympics were one sign. But, US Soccer were never going to fire him after that. But that was a sign. Lots of reasons. And then I think I said on the pod today, between the Olympics finishing in third, which wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't great, and then this World Cup going out the earliest exit they've ever gone out, they won 3 games and scored 10 goals, and one of those wins came in a penalty shootout. So there was nothing in the last couple of years which made me think, oh, this guy's got it. And then I thought the squad was a little bit odd. I listened to your pod when the squad came out, and I just didn't get from him the vibe of authority. And I know they love him. I don't think that's important. Michelle Akers came on our show and talked about having an edge. He doesn't look to me like he has an edge. You do need some sort of edge. You also need high-level experience, because this is a massive job. Make no mistake. This isn't a small job in the women's game that's growing. This is the number 1 job in the women's game. This is equivalent to a really high-level job in the men's game. For me, he has to take most of the responsibility. Of course, the players, have to take some, but the leadership is where the players look to, and I don't feel there was a lot of them.
I hope so. We'll talk about coaching in 1 second, but I do need, Brendan, I've got to ask you one more truly dark question. I can only ask of you, because you are the human being I know who feels things the most, which is why I do need to discuss this with you. Is this a temporary blip, Brendan, a correctable learning moment, and we'll be back with a vengeance in the Olympics in 2027? Or is this a moment, Bex just framed it bloody well, about our advantage as first movers into the women's game, essentially, thanks to Title IX, which gave us, no one else in the world had that. But it's been eradicated by the growth of a more tactical game, a more technical game in Europe and in South America, a better coach game across the globe. Could we be in several decades' time? I hate to say this. I need to get a no. Could we be like as Uruguay are to the World Cup, like an early superpower who dominated in the early days before falling back into the pack?
Great question.
Well, Raj, I think you'll find that Uruguay may have won 2 of the first 4, but then never had a third or fourth after that. So the analogy doesn't quite work.
Thank you. I feel better. I feel better already. But you know what I'm saying.
It's a blip. I remember reading once in The Guardian years ago, and I wish I could find this article, but they were talking about the U.S. men's team and how the U.S. men's team is coming no matter what you do because of what they called, and I believe this is a quote, the sheer brute force of demographics. The sheer brute force of demographics remains on our side, even more so in the women's area. And yes, the rest of the world is catching up, and it'll never be easy, but it never quite was easy earlier either. It maybe the group stage, which is why people plan their travel around it. But I would hope that going forward we do the thing that Vlatko did not do, and pardon me as I clumsily wade into the thing I know least about, the true tactical things. But it seems to me there are 2 kind of coaches. There is the here's how we're going to play no matter what kind of coach, and there's the, okay, who are my players, what's the best thing for these players kind of coach. And if you're going to be the players coach, you have to be the latter tactically. You have to be the all right, who do we got, what do we do, and especially when they're dropping like flies, who do we got, what's the best way to play them. And I just don't think that happened here. I think Vlatko has has his his lineup the way he wants to do it, has his team shape the way he wants to do it, and flexibility is key, especially in the national team situation where you get so little time with folks. So if we can, going forward, take a look at this inventory of that ever-closing gap as the world gains on us, I think it's going to be all the more essential to be like, okay, who do we got? What's the best thing for this group? And send them out confidently with that.
I think one Mr. Bruce Arena will be listening to this podcast and straightening his tie and thinking, what will he be saying, Brendan? What 2 words will he be saying?
Oh, I mean, I love Vlatko, but oy vey, the round of 16 is unacceptable. I mean, it's great when I do it, but for the women, oy vey, I've got nothing but time on my hands.
Vlatko took his 7. It was
Harrison
Vlatko that took his 7.
Oh, it's the most romantic place in the world. I would love to be involved if I can.
Did Vlatko take Bruce Arena's 7 in Bruce Arena's mind? We'll never know the answer. I feel better for just hearing that. The world, America needed Brendan Hunt channeling Bruce Arena, but football don't stop. Before we close, we do need to acknowledge that the Premier League is upon us. Bex, I know you are off to England tomorrow for the opening weekend, a.k.a. JJ Watt's Burnley Bar Mitzvah. Give us a blast of what you're expecting. I've got it on good authority. Manchester City are going to win the league. Everton, Luton and Wolves are going to get relegated. So what should we be excited about knowing that those things are givens?
I think there's loads. There's like Tottenham. Is Postecoglou any good? Whether or not Harry Kane stays. West Ham, are they ever going to buy more than like one player? And is David Moyes actually plastering over the fact that he's not good enough anymore, despite the fact they won Europa Conference League? Luton Town, what on earth is going to happen? Marco Silva, at what point does he leave for Saudi Arabia? Crystal Palace, any danger of holding on to your players? Zaha, what a weird transfer. What is going on? Arsenal, I think will win the league. Rog, I do. Whoa! I know. Brendan, I know. You know why?
You say that because I'm here.
I know. Well, it would be nice if you could support England in return, but whatevs. I think that you will, because I feel like he's not done yet in terms of transfers. I think Rice, Urian Timber. I just think the makeup of the squad is so good. Brendan is pouring something on his head. That's water? So yeah, I think it's going to be a really good title race. You know why, Rog? Because I think City have been wonderful in so many ways, but we do need a change, and that change for me will be Arsenal. But I think Chelsea will be better than. Brendan, I think Chelsea will be better than we think they're going to be, having watched them in the summer series. Liverpool are a bit unknown. But look, Villa are going to be excellent. Brighton will be brilliant. There's going to be a lot going on. I could go on and on, Rog. I'm well excited.
I do need to tell you, Bex, I spoke to Postecoglou, was it yesterday?
Oh.
And in the most Australian way, he said, one of my great assets is... I can't remember. He said he couldn't remember anyone's name, but as an Australian, he gets away with just calling everyone mate. Which I think is just fantastic.
It is.
But Brendan, we've got to go to you. This is now wet, Brendan. This is moist, Brendan.
Oh.
You are a diehard Arsenal.
David Moist, Brendan.
You didn't like that, David Moist, Brendan. You are a diehard Arsenal fan. You've just heard Bex anoint you. Can I get a temperature check? Because you've already won the revered MLS All-Star, Emirates Trophy, Community Shield treble. Can there be more to come this season?
I mean, after you win the skills challenge, a boy can no longer dream. A boy has already lived it. I mean, I've been in Rebecca's company now for 8 episodes, and we've done a good job of not having this conversation. But I've wondered, Rebecca, who knows so much more than me, and is so much more objective, especially the higher up the table you go. All respect to the palace. So the last words I expected out of Rebecca's mouth were Arsenal to win the league, and that means it's happening. That means it's actually happening, Raj. If I say it, but the bullshit. It's bullshit. It's a dreamer on a balloon.
It's time, in all seriousness, to close. Can we get a top 4 and bottom 3 prediction from you both? You'll both be held to this in legal writing. This is contractual. Bex's is actually the official one. This will really happen, listeners. But go on.
Yeah, although if you've looked at my bracket for the Women's World Cup, you'll know that I fail dismally at these things. Okay, so Arsenal
having Scotland winning it all. I think you had Wrexham in the final, Bex, which is a bit of a stretch.
On their world tour. All right, so Arsenal number 1, City 2nd. I'm going to go Liverpool 3rd and Man United 4th. It's really boring. I wanted to put Chelsea in there and I wanted to put Villa in there, but I'm not brave enough. So that's my top 4 for now, but, caveat. And bottom will be Luton. Bottom's going to be Sheffield United. They've just lost their best player to Burnley. So second bottom's going to be Luton. Third bottom's going to be Wolves. I did put Everton in there, but I've crossed them out. Just because
was that
Wolves,
just for my benefit?
A little bit.
Really
I put it down, then I was like, I can't do that, so I'm just going to cross that out.
I've got to take Palace out of mine then, nice to reciprocate.
Please do.
Tell us the Hunt fictional top. We just heard how it's going to end. Spoiler alert from Bex. What do you think, Brendan?
Well, for the top 4, Arsenal clearly, unequivocally, are going to win the title. Everyone knows it, accepts it. And then I think you've got, in some order, City will be second for sure, but then I think Liverpool and Chelsea. I think the bump of not having Europe to deal with is a powerful thing. So I think that'll help them a lot. And I'm afraid I've got the same bottom 3 as Rebecca. You would get Wolves, Luton, Sheffield. Thanks for stopping by. Wolves have been hanging on by a thread for so long, for so very long.
They're a little bit boring. Sorry, I find them quite I'm never. It's very difficult to get excited about a Wolves game. I do struggle with that. If I'm honest, maybe cut this bit out, but
I'm gonna remember that when you're on here. And here we are. It's a 12:30 game, Robbie. I couldn't be more excited. Wolves against Luton Town. We're in for a treat here. God, I had a very serious tactical conversation with a group of researchers last night. I was like, I fear Lopetegui, he's going to keep them up. I was delighted to wake up this morning to hear that he was leaving. So I've reviewed things. I think it's going to be City, Arsenal, Manchester United. God bless King Bald Eric Ten Hag. And then I love Pochettino. I've got a good vibe for Chelsea Football Club. The bottom 3, Wolves, Luton Town, and Everton Football Club.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Finally.
Don't do this to yourself.
Look at it. I'm just in a dark spot. US Women's National. Every team I love is cursed, Brendan. I'm just trying to speak my worst outcome into the world so I can manage my pain. I actually spoke with Sean Dykes this morning, and I actually got off and ripped my shirt open. I'm so revved up. If I was being honest, I think we're going to win it all. But Godspeed. I hope you, Brendan Hunt, you beautiful human being, travel safely around the nation with your family, and just tell your son, you can tell him when he's older that he was there to watch the United States go back to back to back, and he won't know the difference. He'll just feel great about it. But Bex, at the start of the season, you're about to head off to England with the crew. Amazing crew. How do you feel? Does it feel like an exciting moment? Does it feel like you're about to start an ultra marathon with many, many challenges and many, many Robbies?
I feel like one of those people that runs ultra marathons who loves them. So I feel like both of those things. I feel like I'm about to start an ultra marathon, but then I'm one of those people that just absolutely loves every single mile of them, 250 miles or whatever those people do. So yeah, I can't wait, Rog. There's nothing better. We're going to be Burnley, then we're going to St James's Park, Stamford Bridge and Old Trafford in 4 days. It's going to be epic. It's going to be exhausting. I can't bloody wait.
Savor every single second. Make great memories. We cannot wait to watch you, you incredible human being. It is honestly a joy to be with you both. I do love your podcast, After the Whistle. It's available where all good podcasts are. You both, honestly, are an example of all that's good about watching football together. Just making memories and connecting with humanity. Bex, Brendan, thank you.
Thanks,
Namaste.
Rog.
And minging, one more minging, Bex, before we go.
Absolutely minging.
Big love to you both. Courage. Listen to the full version of this podcast and all our podcasts wherever you get your pods. But first, subscribe here for more Men in Blazers videos. And courage.